This is royal food. It turns out this way. Let the temperature come up and the steaks will rest a bit. I'll take this probe and insert it into the thickest part of the product. Alright, the nut is hot. Slide. With such a mess. Friends, I greet you all. Time has flown by unnoticed, and we meet again. You are watching Borisov TV, and I am Alexei Borisov, your regular host. The New Year was celebrated recently, and it's already January 20th. But there's no point in looking back, there are so many holidays ahead. There's Valentine's Day, the 23rd of February, and International Women's Day. And maybe today I won't tell you how to buy a car or an iPhone, but I will definitely tell you how to surprise your significant other with a culinary treat. And as you can tell from the title of this video, today we're making salmon medallions with a Hollandaise sauce. Please check the subscription, like the video, and let's begin. Separate the yolks from the whites of 2 eggs. We only need the yolks, and the whites can be used in another dish, for example, for breakfast or to whip a meringue. We send the yolks to a larger bowl where our immersion blender will fit. We lower the blender blade and slightly whip. I took 125 grams of butter, melted it in a water bath, and now I will slowly pour it into the yolks. Our task is to thicken the sauce with the help of butter to achieve the so-called emulsion. Now we slightly lift the blade, introducing the butter to the yolks. We see that the butter is not enough and add a little more. And don't be put off by the fact that the sauce is fatty. After all, it's a holiday, and you can allow yourself more on a holiday. Pay attention to the consistency. The blender has done its job, I remove it. I will continue to work with a spoon. We need to make the sauce slightly acidic, so I take a lemon. I took a good Uzbek one, thin-skinned, and I squeeze out a couple of teaspoons of it. This will be enough for me. Plus, freshly ground black pepper is a must. I mix everything with a spoon, taste it. If there's not enough acidity, I will cut a little more. I think this will be enough for me. Mix it one more time. I can feel how it's all going to spread throughout the fish. Friends, just imagine. Now that's what's needed. We put it aside. The next thing we have to work with is salmon fillet, or rather it's steak. I've already bought sliced ones in the store, cleaned them from scales, and now I'll show what needs to be done. With a convenient and sharp knife, we separate this part of the fillet from the bones. We cut off the bones like this. We don't need them. And we cut off this lower part. Then we go up along the bone. There are also bones here, but we will remove them a bit later. We make a cut, and we do the same thing on the mirror side. We make a cut and remove the bones. With a smooth motion, we get rid of the skeleton. Look, there's practically no meat on it. It's all here and soon it will be on the plate. All that's left is to gnaw on the rib bones. Here they are. You can see them. We remove them. I have tongs. Use any tools available. Here they are. Look how big they are. We remove. We definitely won't need them. We make sure there's nothing here with a finger. And we do the same thing on the other side. You can even turn it around for convenience. Next, for convenience, we lay one side on its side and remove it from the skin. In this way. We return to the original position and make such a groove, filling all the pores. We close it, and with a piece of skin, we make a notch from the other side. So this is how such a slice turns out. All that's left is to fix it with a regular screw. That's it, we're fixing it. And a double knot. This simply gives us beauty and steak in the cooking process. It doesn't go anywhere. We do the same thing with the second steak. See you in a couple of minutes. All that's left is to salt and freshly ground pepper. Just like that, a little bit. I also found a bit of thyme. I will sprinkle these dried leaves on top like this. Same thing here. We set it to maximum heat. Wait until the grill heats up. Remember, we only salted and peppered one side of the steak so it doesn't fall apart. And we put it spice side down on the heated grill pan. We do the same with the second steak. Our task is not to fully cook the steak on this pan, but simply to sear it for flavor. Everything else will follow. I'll show you, don't worry. We have 30 seconds left before we flip the steaks. Also, a bit of dry herbs, remove the stems, salt, and freshly ground pepper. Excellent! 10 seconds and we flip. The timer worked, we start flipping. Eat. We do the same with the second one. We wait another minute and a half. As soon as the cooking time on the skillet is over, I'll take this probe and insert it into the thickest part of the product for us to be able to cook in the oven. Remember, the salmon is already ready at 52 degrees. That is, I will set it to 50. As soon as the timer on my probe works, we will reach and the temperature will distribute and it will catch up to the necessary one. And such a device can be purchased on the internet from 300 rubles to infinity, depending on the functionality you need. The timer has worked. I stick the probe into the thickest part of the product and we go to the oven. We send it to the oven and close it. In 2 words, I'll explain why we use such a device. When we put something in the oven, it first and foremost heats up the temperature differently for a product of different thickness, which helps to understand what degree of readiness the product is in the end. As a result, you get a product that is at least not overcooked and at most not raw. Using such a device, you will definitely surprise your guests with both the result obtained and the cooking process. And in the comments, what gadgets do you use in your kitchen? And I, in turn, will tell you how much time it took to prepare a steak about 2.5 to 3 centimeters thick at a temperature of 180 degrees until the fish burns in the oven. We will prepare a garnish. It will be simple. It is puree from freshly frozen peas. It is sold in almost any store near your home. For this, we need only the peas themselves. Cream, I have 15%, salt and pepper. We turn on the heating. We also turn on the maximum. We immediately throw in the peas. We do not use any oil. We will slightly heat it, add a little water and let it simmer. The fish has reached 48 degrees and I'm taking it off the heat. The temperature will come and the steaks will rest a bit. It took only 6 minutes for everything. The peas have warmed up. We will slightly salt it. Add a bit of freshly ground and start introducing the reductions. We need to heat them too. Friends, please tell me what dish to cook in the next video. Write in the comments. I read them all very carefully and the most interesting dish will definitely be prepared on the channel. We send the peas with the reductions to the blender. The peas are hot, but do not happen as it is with me now. Use small rotations. Well friends, the long-awaited time when we can lay everything out and enjoy the result, and we put out 2 spoons, and in a restaurant where we do it like this in a drawing. The next and main guest is the fish. We lay it out like this. Most importantly, don't forget to remove the thread, as it will be very difficult to do without a fluffy knife. And very carefully, without damaging the skin, we remove it, definitely keeping, especially together with the Dutch sauce, also with such a mask. And the final touch is red caviar. I have it left from the New Year's table, or rather I just didn't use the New Year. But for you it's not necessary. But in my opinion, it is not superfluous here at all. We will tear off a few sprigs of dill, literally 3 pieces, and beautifully distribute it over the fish. Dill goes very well with fish, and it adds its own highlights. I know that the filming crew is impatiently waiting for the moment when we finish everything and start trying everything that we got. But I start first. I'm the first one. I'll try the puree first because I even tried the brine. I was in such a hurry. I wanted fish. Soft and even slightly sweet. The peas were likely very young. Just awesome. Next, the fish. I want to take the fish and remove the skin. And let's look at the cut. Let's see what we got. Look, we did it for 6 minutes at 80 degrees and there's no heart observed, which means everything is very, very good. Herring is very tender from the pepper. There is such a sharpness in measure, salty. And if we combine all this stuff, take a little fish, sauce, caviar, garnish, and thus put it in the mouth. It's royal food. Friends, prepare your second halves and don't regret anything. Before they tear me apart and I can't finish my dish, I must say goodbye. I thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and don't be afraid to experiment. Bye bye.